Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Millennially with StefKai. It's another episode. I'm your boy StefKai, and of course this is the podcast to unlock the millennial experience one episode at a time. Thank you all for being here. I'm now on YouTube, so please, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, subscribe to my YouTube channel, StefKai, that's StefKai. And of course you can get the podcast on all the regular podcasting platforms, Spotify, Google, and of course Apple Podcast. I'm an iPhone guy. So I'm here today to talk to a beautiful woman about real estate, home buying, the challenges millennials experience and face. And of course, I'm just with the beautiful Ayana Dean. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, Ayana Dean, I am a realtor associate. That means I'm a real estate agent. And I help people find their dream homes. So if you're looking to buy property, to sell property, to rent or lease property, you can call me.
And of course, you'll get the information later on in the episode. But she is a realtor, interior designer, she forget that part there, and a lover of beautiful homes. But in her spare time, she's a good girl, and full time, she's a mommy to one special boy.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's get into the episode. I normally start with a game, this or that.
All right.
Ready? Up for the challenge? Okay. All right. So, city or country?
City living.
City living?
Yes.
Okay, so you're a city girl.
Love the entertainment, love the nightlife.
All right,
Even
cool.
though I don't go anywhere, I just want the option.
That's so like me. All right then. So smart home or more vintage?
Vintage home.
Vintage chic. Or
to be honest,
vintage?
Smart home for the ecological friendliness, but vintage for the look.
So that's like an ecological friendliness.
Yes, just ESG, taking responsibility for my carbon footprint.
We hear much more about that later on in the episode. All right then. So living in a hip neighborhood or upcoming area?
Hip neighborhood for entertainment. I'm supposed to choose one, don't you?
Yes.
Upcoming because of the price point.
I take notes now because I want to host by the end of this. Yeah. All right. So fixer upper or moving ready?
To be honest, that's hard. I would take a fixer upper because as a designer, I want to put my own spin on everything. So fixer upper.
All right then.
Also, price point.
And price point. Mm-hmm. I realize she's a economically friendly person, not just ecologically, but economically. So this is why you need to get to her. But last one, all right? So, enough people with enough neighbors, or you want a more suburban, desperate housewife?
Give me cul-de-sac. Give me like two, like a tree, like a neighbor, not like no only people.
You want a dead end?
Give me dead end.
Yeah, you don't want to go on.
Give me the clothes.
Yes.
All right,
no problem. So that was this or that. You heard the girl, and as you can see, her answer them match how she looks. So yeah. So today we're here to talk about home buying, just the struggles millennials face.
Okay.
In the past 3 or so years, there has been research where it's saying that like more millennials are purchasing homes. I'm yet to meet them because I don't have one. But the market is saying that even though it's economically hard, more people are purchasing homes, especially millennials. Have you seen that with your clients in terms of the age range?
Yeah, well, I'm turning 30 in 2 weeks.
Period.
And to be honest, if you ask anybody in my age range what they want to do next, some of the answers would be like, you start a family, buy a home. It's actually pretty common as an aspiration at this during this time of our lives. So to be honest, I find that you are right, more millennials are buying homes, and home buying is becoming more of, instead of as an aspiration for a dream home where you just buy the one and you settle down in it, like we were speaking about it before we started recording, you want to buy a first home. Because now there's the option of buying a first home and a second home and a third home, a vacation home, a home in the Hamptons.
Holiday home.
That's
in a home in the Hamptons, in a home in Ochi.
Okay, we're going to buy a little a condominium in Miami. We're doing all the things. So home buying now is not something that is a permanent fixture. People are buying homes in order to start as an investment, just like how you'd invest in stocks and bonds and Birkin bags. You invest in your home.
Not her promoting break. You see what I'm saying? You know what?
Can't cut it out. I wanna get
It's fine. It's fine. We leave it. But I love that you spoke about aspiration, because it's my aspiration. It's a lot of my friends' aspiration to purchase a home. But you said that in your clientele and what you're seeing on the market, it's that people are now strategizing and changing that to really. It's like a first car. I don't need to get the Audi. I can start out with adequate fit.
Yeah.
A man's car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then go up.
And go up.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw on TikTok, and I'll insert this in post. People are still saying that, you know, the economical climate is hard, and a lot of millennials still can't afford it. So even though there's an uptick and there is a rise and increase, as the research shows, many millennials still can't afford it.
Yeah.
But how is it that we can become more financially literate and also gain independence to purchase homes, and we have car, light, water, everything else to pay?
Love what you're saying. To be honest, very loaded question. All right, so these are my thoughts. I do not speak on behalf of any other
thoughts
realtors.
Represented here do not.
They belong to Ayana Dean alone. But to be honest, a lot of us don't know what we can afford. So the first step
Hold on.
is the
Come
throat.
after this it, because she does have come done the place today.
No,
Say that again.
we don't know what we can afford.
Explain.
Because we do need, in order to purchase a home, there are lots of realtors who would not even help you to start looking until you provide a pre-approval
There are
letter.
okay, so they won't start helping you to look until
Some
they
people will
provide.
help you to look. Some people nice and cute like that.
So you have to have the pre-approval
Your
letter.
pre-approval convinces the seller that you are capable
And you're serious.
of. This is if you're not a cash buyer.
Yeah.
So if you have it like that, and since we're talking about millennials who we're looking to try and figure out how we can fiscally afford home buying, I'm assuming we're not buying with cash. So if we're intending to buy with a mortgage, which is basically a loan that is attached to real estate. So not all loans are mortgages, but all mortgages are real estate loans.
So not all loans are mortgages, but all mortgages.
They have to be attached to real estate. It's not a mortgage if it's not attached to real estate.
Well, I mean,
so in order to buy a home with a lender's, somebody's going to lend you the money, you need a mortgage. And in order to get a mortgage, you would need to be pre-approved. The pre-approval process requires for you to give, the regular information, your identification, birth certificate, passport, TRN, and then you get a credit report, and you also have a statement of assets.
And all of that costs money
No,
to get those things.
that's free.
Free.
You go into
In this country, Jamaica land, wood and
free.
water.
Any lending institution will do that for you for free.
Okay, nice. So I'm glad that you kind of delved into that and touched the conversation there. So I am purchasing a home. What's the setup looking like? And walk me through the steps a little bit before we get more into the comfort of like.
So that first step when you're purchasing a home with a mortgage is that you do get your pre-approval. A lot of people jump over that and just go onto our website and start looking at houses and say, "Boy, this is too expensive."
So the first step to this is to get the pre-approval letter.
Get yourself a pre-approval letter.
And where can you get that from?
Okay, so I, as a real estate agent, I have a lot of a network of professionals that I work with. So I have somebody who's a mortgage broker. So if you wanted to, for instance, buy a home and you don't know where to start, I can put you onto my mortgage broker, and she has relationships in most of the banks, JN, JMMB. How much I missed a while ago?
3, 4. Yeah, but we get it. JMMB.
Most of the banks, CIBC, First Global, any bank you can think of. So usually you start with the bank that you are already saving with. It's a good place to start. But you want to shop around. Oh, yeah.
Alexa, it's fine. Go ahead.
You want to shop around for your mortgage because of the interest rates. So you might not necessarily get a mortgage with a bank that you already save with if, for instance, it is a bank that has a higher interest rate. And or age group, no, the millennials are going to be anywhere between late 20s going into mid
30s,
to late.
Yeah.
Late
30s, almost 40.
So your age group is a big influence on how mortgage lenders will see you. Now is a good time. One of the reasons why there's an uptake is because it is such a good time. You will get, you can get a loan up to 40 years. I mean, to be honest, the longer the loan, the more you pay for the loan, because the interest
the longer
in the
loan, the more you pay for the.
It's the more you pay over time, but the longer the loan, the lesser you pay immediately. So in the month, you will pay less money.
Me never too good for maths. I said that again. The longer the loan, the lesser you pay immediately.
the longer the loan, the longer the period of the loan.
Right.
So say you're getting the full 40 years. That's because you went up for the loan when you were 25.
Okay.
So they expect you to finish paying it when you are 65. All right. And if we're going to say that you give them a deposit. You give them a deposit of 10%. If you can give a larger deposit, that's great because you need a smaller loan. And a smaller loan means lesser repayment because you would still need lesser time to pay it back, right? So the more you can give, the lesser you are borrowing. The lesser you borrow, the lesser interest rates that you have to pay back. Yeah. But say you're borrowing for 40 years. So the monthly payment that you pay now will be lesser than if you said, I would like to borrow for 20 years or 25 or 30. Yes.
And can you pay off more if you want for the 40-year loan? Like say 1 month you just say, I just want, or is it fixed? I just want to throw in like a 50
It depends
grand.
On the agreement. So your lender will have different lenders have different agreements. So there are different ways to pay your mortgage. And there are circumstances under which you can pay to your principal, but there is a time period within which you can do that. So I don't want to go into that. Probably when you get a mortgage broker on here.
Link car. She basically I said link car.
You can just
link car. No, not here.
But every lender has their different stipulations.
So, all right. So I'm happy that you spoke about that. So in terms of millennials and just personally, I can say it's an aspiration of mine. A very good friend of mine recently went through the process of purchasing a home in Jamaica, and I'm so happy for him. But my thing is, the Jamaican system sometimes lends itself to coming like with on one slave ship same way. Like everything is still so laborious. It's still have to fight.
To be honest, we have one of our response time in relation to closing sales. It can be pretty slow. It really depends.
It's not like
on
selling Sunset, selling
honestly,
OC,
selling St. Andrew is a different ball game, baby. It is a different something. Different from what you see on selling. First of all, you ever see them ring bell pan selling Sunset?
Ring. Gling. Courtesy of Spice.
Every week I'm a ring bell. Listen, it's gonna be 90 days and then 120 days and then sometimes 180. And I know sales that take 1 year and 2 years that should have taken 45 days.
I want to people them ears, so just fix up like your mic with your nice clean self. Yeah. I mean that's. I'm happy that we're having this conversation because it needs to be had, because I did ask some people before I came on, and another thing that came out was that some people marry to purchase a home. It may not be ideal, but even when they pool together, they still can't afford it. And a lot of young people, especially in Jamaica, I read in an article that it was saying that a lot of us will still have to live with our parents, our aunts, our uncles for a little bit more because we just can't afford it. Like base salary and those things not attractive.
All right, so okay, the can't afford. I have an adverse perspective.
Is she saying that she can afford?
What I'm saying is, What I am saying is, I feel like we need to kind of get out of this idea that we can't afford to purchase homes. When you look at any real estate website, or if you're working with a realtor already and they're sending you options of home, you say, yeah, man, I want a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and it needs to be on one of these luxurious new developments, and it needs to be the most modern, and you want floor to ceiling windows, you want high ceilings, and you want quartz countertop, and you want all these everything what you want, sir or madam, your chest high. So that is what is happening.
Because some people just don't understand.
It's not that you cannot afford to purchase a home. You cannot afford to purchase the home that you are looking for. But real estate, you have to treat real estate just the way how you treat any other kind of investment. Real estate, you don't have to start.
I've just always wanted to say that on a podcast. That's a gem. Yeah. Sorry, real estate, any other investment.
Starting out, we need to get out of this idea that our first home is our dream home. We have to think about our first home as just that, your first home. Think about it as equity. You are growing your equity in a piece of property. There's only so much land, and land appreciates. There is
and
nothing.
And they said the land are receding at Jamaica, so by 10 years' time, we maybe not more.
Less and less. Can you imagine? And we're getting earthquakes and freak storms and all of them, something there. land is probably the only commodity that I can think of, like off the top of my head, that year on year appreciates as significantly as it does. And we live in a developing country. It is never going to be a bad time to buy. It's never going to be a bad time to invest in real estate, because we are turning our rural areas into urban areas and our urban areas into cities, and we're going to be doing that for the foreseeable future.
Every woman going to say, I right
something
now.
else
Every,
come up, something
come
else is going up. And to be honest, there's lots of very public information that can help you to determine where to buy. So up and coming, and we were talking earlier about up and coming areas. Some people want to live in the Kingston 8s and in the Kingston 6s, and that's the only place they want to look. And I know that it's a little bit more expensive in those areas. And they ball and say, it's so expensive. It's not expensive. It costs what it costs. And the only reason why property can be listed like that is because somebody is bringing the money to buy it.
Amen.
The buyers, regardless of where we are, determine what is a reasonable ask in
and
a market.
Can reach.
So I can only sell an apartment for $40 million because there are people bringing $40 million to buy the apartments upstairs, it downstairs, it, and next to it on the east side.
I can tell you, I'm going to be speaking to her after this episode, but me can't afford $40 million. So,
and that is okay.
So,
and
like,
do you
so
know
like
for sure?
like
When you
me,
say that, are you saying that out of actual knowledge you went and got pre-approved?
I'm looking at my Scotia. Oh, pre-approval? No, I not have that yet.
So,
but I'm looking at account first.
Without your pre-approval, you don't really know.
Okay, so you see, all right, so the first thing is to get the pre-approval. After that, what's next?
Some banks also, do you know that you can get, once you're making your NHT contributions as an adult person, you are now entitled to $7.5 million. And with a partner, both of you can get $7.5 million. That is $15 million. And some banks allow you to put the two loans together.
Okay.
So you can get $15 million, and the interest rate with NHT, I think, is between 0 and 4%, depending on your profession, what you do, how much money you are making.
So say, for instance, you're not touring NHT,
So if you're going
what does that look like?
If you're going with a mortgage lender, your interest rate is going to probably be somewhere between 7.5 and 8%. And as I said, it depends on the length of loan. So a good tip is to start saving up your deposit, and you try to put as much money towards your deposit as possible.
Let me ask you something quick. So like how you can buy one car and then sell it back. You can do the same thing with house?
Of course, you flip them.
Okay.
But a lot of people don't
flip them. You flip them.
So for instance, I'll tell you, when the houses were, there's a development in Portmore. I'm not even going to call nobody name, but there are developments in Portmore, Old Harbour. Those houses, when
Old
they were
Harbour
going up, you're talking about like 7 million or 12 million. And now those houses are being sold for $36 million, $40 million, $50 million. That is gross appreciation. And that only happens with land. Another thing too, you said people get married in order to buy houses. Don't do that. You can be engaged, and if you actually know that the person is committed to you and you want to do this together.
Enough of them don't know. That's why I'm getting problems.
If you and your partner can decide, say, we're going to put on 2 and 2s together to buy something before getting married, trust me, weddings are expensive, and weddings bring down your credit. Also, buying a car. So the debt that you own also brings down your credit.
Talk to them,
so
please.
If you want to buy a nice little Honda Accord and you want to be driving in a R, what call it? What the man them love the R. Wait, name R1, R1, RS, R. I mean, the man them love them car. If you're thinking of buying a home, don't also just buy a car. Don't buy a car just before. You're going to put yourself in a position where...
she's basically saying diversify, look at your portfolio, see you
no,
can
wait,
manage.
it's like buy the home first.
Buy the home first, right? Me do it wrong.
Because the way
I'm going to sell back the car then and buy the home.
The criteria for buying a car is different from buying a home.
Yeah.
So the home is probably the single most expensive commodity that you could actually buy. I mean, there are some cars that cost more than homes.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, though, that if you buy the home first...
Yeah.
You might get that out of the way,
and you can
then
take
do the wedding,
else.
then buy the car.
Whereas if you're going to have children and all of that, at least you know them have somewhere to stay. Yeah. But we're talking just about home buying. What about renting? Because like for me, that's an aspiration right now as a millennial. We can't really afford the purchase of a home, but I want to rent. That is sometimes frowned upon. What do you say to that as well as a millennial yourself? Is renting fine, and how
Of
long
course.
should you rent? And is renting for an extended period a bad thing?
Well, all right. I'm of two minds on this one. Renting is totally fine. For as long as it is comfortable for you. After nobody can tell you about your pockets and what you must do with your money. At the end of the day, you do what is comfortable for you. There are benefits to renting because the overall cost of maintaining a home is actually, it can be, for some people, insurmountable. It's a lot. And we live in a tropical climate. Warm to when the roof blow off. At least when you're there in your landlord place, you just call and say, sir or madam, my roof blow off, and they have to fix it up for you. When the earthquake has shake up the place, anything crack at them, fix it. What drop and break, or you say, excuse me, sir or madam, you know? When you own the property, you don't have nobody to call. You have to pay your property taxes. You definitely have to pay. The only good thing about owning property, though, is mortgages are insured.
Yeah.
Mortgages are usually insured. That is not to tell anybody to go belong them house with insurance money. Just saying that mortgages are protected. And so mortgage property is protected property, and usually when you're going for a mortgage too, they ask that you have life insurance because in case you die, they want to make sure that they can recoup their monies.
Because we are all commodities too, and as human beings.
No, it's a lot of considerations.
Yeah. So there's one thing I also want to talk about. So sorry to cut in on you. I have a very bad habit. When I may see it in the episode and you can type it in the comment. But also in terms of like I live in a townhouse complex in a set of in an area, and there's also issues with like things about like if you don't pay your maintenance,
managing the strata, all of those different
Talk
things.
a little bit about that.
Well, different stratas have different they have different agreements.
But I can't paint the house no other color after stay.
Like that. I personally like that. I like that those rules of uniformity. I think it helps to keep a standard. Yeah. To be honest,
everybody to jing bang
over time, as they resell property, sometimes when the first owners move out and other owners come in, those rules might get a little bit more slack and things might change, and before you know it, somebody build on somebody's house and the pool stop get maintained and the place stop get taken care of. But I did want to just go back on one thing with the rental that we were talking about before, just to say renting is a sunk cost. You don't recoup that money at all, and you have nothing to gain except you would have whatever you would have gotten from renting is in the past.
Yeah, so it's like a sinking fund. Yeah.
If you the biggest argument against rent is just that you don't get anything afterwards. But the same way how you can lose everything if you. Oh gosh, but you feel. When you are paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
Depending on the agreement that you have with your lender. Did you know that if you skip maybe about 3 mortgage payments, they have a right to foreclose on your home?
You hear that? So pay on the mortgage. No matter going.
So if you miss, it depends on who the lender is. It doesn't have to be 3, but any amount that they would have dictated. If you miss those payments, they have a right to foreclose on your home. But you have equity in the home because anything that you would have paid to the principal is what you own.
I just want to bring out a few things though in terms of like the process. When you're purchasing a house, you said the pre-approval, etc., and the process of that.
Get your pre-approval.
Right? And then also just talking a little bit about interior design. That's another aspect. That's another cost. Do the loans cover that, or you just take the loan for the specific house?
Well, as I said to you, so when you get a mortgage lender on here, they can speak deeply to that. But to be honest, they do have loans that cover 110% of your cost. So you can, I know JN, for instance, and they didn't sponsor, but JN, you can get a loan of 110% of your mortgage, which would cover your closing costs and could cover, like, say, for instance, furnishing your home. And of course, you have to qualify for that. Not everybody will qualify for that, but the same things that we say, factor in your age, your credit history, your ability to repay, all of those things will factor in. And so that is more than possible. I think one thing that we probably, I don't know if you will put it somewhere else in the conversation, but you asked about flipping homes. I think more of us need to think about buying homes that we can afford, homes within the budget that we qualify for, and think about it as, okay.
Budget that we call what? 5.4?
What we qualify for.
Oh, what we qualify for.
So when you get your pre-approval, if they say you're qualified for 19 million, but you want a $60 million house, just get over it and buy something.
And I think that's also a problem as millennials. We tend to cuss Gen Z a lot, but we have a little trait on them sometime in a way. We feel like we're after breath and whatever. But once you know you can lay it on your head after you go to the soccer party and jingy and all of that.
But it doesn't have to be your head. If you are comfortable where you are currently and you can afford to pay.
So you're saying if I'm living with my parents.
If you're living with your parents.
And nothing wrong with that.
If you're, what would I wrong with that? I mean, unless your parents.
I mean, there's also the issue which we'll touch on in another episode where there's a point when you have to move out because the living with parents thing become a thing.
I understand. I mean, to be honest, it's I don't know if it's a Caribbean thing or a Jamaican thing, but if you find, I observe in the community that I live in now that a lot of people who are of a different persuasion live with their parents for much longer than black people. Live with their parents for much longer. And because the resources are not as scarce. I believe that because there was no legacy created and no real estate was bought. There were no real estate investments. What happens is we try to escape our parents as soon as we can, and we escape into a rental because we wouldn't be able to immediately go and purchase. And we might stay in the space of renting for quite a while until we would have developed some sort of equity.
But while staying in the space of renting, save.
So I'm
put on some
while
money,
you are renting,
you get 50, put on 25.
While you're renting, you're making your NHT contributions. Find out how much NHT will give you.
And you can also throw that personally too. You don't have to work at a government institution. You can just go there, register, have your own account.
That is true.
I did that because when I left government, I went and started my own account.
Make your own contributions, of course.
And you can set how much you want to throw too.
Once you are earning it, I think it's advisable that you definitely go ahead
and you can get back the money. If you don't use it, you can get a refund. And also you can pass it on to your kids. So there's benefit. It's like a savings but it's important to, as you're saying, to, while you're renting, still have that vision and the financial literacy, which I think is something that I beat with bad because we weren't really taught a lot of these stuff as millennials. I mean,
I think it's a learn as you go kind of thing. We go and try a thing and be gracious to yourself because you don't know till you know. Rent. If you can afford something for 19 million or 20 million or 25 million, but your chest is at 40 million or 60 million, that is okay. But buy the 1-bedroom studio for the 20 million then, right? You don't have to live in it yourself. You can rent it out. Pay your mortgage with the rent. And as you're paying and getting equity in that home, you can actually take out another mortgage to purchase another home.
See, there you hear it from the guru ourselves. But wrapping up the conversation, last thing I want to touch on. Real estate realtors, real estate agents, very important people because they're like facilitators, conduits to getting what you want, the dream home. But in terms of like lawyers, are they important in all of this process?
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to get scammed.
So of course, you cannot, well, I was going to say you cannot. I would not, as a real estate agent, I don't advise that people buy property without a lawyer. It is a very complex process, and it makes more sense for you to get the help of a professional for the conveyance of the sale. But so you get your pre-approval, you find a real estate agent, you determine what you're looking for. He or she helps you to find the perfect home. Because of your pre-approval, you put in an offer, the seller accepts your offer, and then you go back to the bank, and you and your lawyer, you retain a lawyer, and you and your lawyer start the sales process, which is a completely separate thing from going and looking on websites and choosing if you like the house or not and going to view. So a lawyer is actually very, very critical. People do it without lawyers, but I'll tell you for a fact, because I am a real estate agent, if I am representing the seller, then there is no one representing your interest if you don't have a lawyer in the process of closing that sale.
And also, in terms of like as a real estate a realtor, do you have like the buyer's interest at heart? Like
if I am the buyer's agent.
Okay.
So it depends. So I will have
a lot of people have that kind of hang up to like, Lord God, I know they might go look out for me, may I pay them.
So it is my fiduciary responsibility to take care of. Yes, to take care of my clients. So if my client is on both sides, meaning I'm the seller's agent and the buyer's agent, that is very, very clear to both parties, and I represent what would best suit my buyer. At all times, and I am the person really facilitating the conversation between the buyer and the seller before it goes to the lawyer. Once the lawyer comes into play, I don't do as much by way of communicating on their behalf, because the sales process is really handled between the seller's lawyer and the buyer's lawyer.
Well, I'm a fanatic of selling Sunset and them someday, and real estate agents are important. I mean, it's also a lucrative field. So if you're looking for a job opportunity, it's good.
I am a strong proponent of becoming a realtor. Like, I mean, to be honest, I don't see what you could lose. So if you're interested,
you can do it.
Of course, if you're interested, the process of becoming a realtor, just doing the course and then getting the license and all of that, it's a little bit tedious. But after that, it is just like running a business.
But we're going to term this part millennial mindset. So the problem, financial literacy, what will you say to people, millennials, just to get in the vibe of purchasing homes? You said earlier in the episode that, don't think you can't afford it. Even if you're making a meager salary, you can. Just give them some advice.
Okay, well, we're living in the age of information, so absolutely educate yourself. The same place where you are saving money or anywhere that you have a bank account, just ask them first. Just ask them, can I afford a mortgage? What can I afford? If you find that you might have some bad debt, if you had a credit card that you had for 500 million years and you stopped paying it, you know what I'm saying? If you had some student loans, whatever, try and see if you can address those issues and get that cleared, and then find out where you are. Start with finding out, okay, where am I?
Yeah, you should find out where you are. And that's anything in life. Assess. You have to assess, Yeah. And then also in terms of like, when do I bring in a realtor?
As soon as you can bring it out, there lots of realtors will work with you just as soon as you get the idea in your head, say you want to purchase a place. So from the start, from your jump. As I said to you, we have a network of professionals. We know everybody. We know a little bit of everybody to do everything. So we can help you to get from, I don't even know what to do, but I want to live somewhere, to working with a mortgage broker, to finding out what you can afford, and to coming back to me now for us to scout the landscape and find what works for you.
I love that. And we're still in the millennial mindset segment. Give me some of the best places, economically and even for the more higher-chested people, where they can buy those homes in Jamaica.
Well, for people who are looking for homes, standalone homes, I'm going to say outside of Kingston, maybe Manchester is a good place because of the new highway is giving us a lot of proximity to Kingston. Too far. Well, if you need to be in the city, but you're looking to be able to afford it a little bit better, than on the outskirts of what we're calling the meat of the city. So on the outskirts, the edges of Kingston 8, meaning Havendale, Maryvale, Mannings Hill.
The Vale.
Okay.
Havendale, Maryvale.
And to be honest, if you don't buy now, it's going to be...
Go up.
The developers are moving to the outskirts. So new high-rises and everything coming up. And boy, I may tell you, say, if I don't know, I don't know when. Because next year you're going to cry. Next year you're going to say, boy, I wish if I had just taken a chance. No. Anything you see for 20 million now, maybe 26 next year.
Strike while the iron is hot.
You just start where you are. We have a lot to offer, and I think that we don't realize how much we can afford because we don't have the information. So get the information and start where you are. Treat real estate as an investment. So think about it like buying something that you hope to appreciate, and you might sell it back or you might grow it, and work from there.
Thank you so much, Ayana. And guys, her name is Ayana Dean. She's a licensed real estate agent. So she's not a prankster, go around and she's licensed. So, like how the other day, the people them go up and the people them stay at top of them a health inspector.
Okay.
All right, guys. So I'm so happy to have Ayana here with me today. The name is Ayana Dean. Listen out, she's going to be one of the biggest think people them in Jamaica. You can find her on Instagram at Ayana Dean Realty. A realty? Yeah. And call her at 876-365-7051 for all of your home purchasing, information, needs, everything you need. And thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Living Millennial with StefKai. Come back next week for another episode. Love on her. Plenty love. Bye. It's your boy StefKai. Say bye now.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
The little Indian girl on the internet, and she said, bye. I don't know if you've ever
Bye.
seen it.
Bye.